Welcome to yet another podcast from Opine Group. And today I'm really excited because we are going to talk about the most fundamental thing in any industry, in fact, in our life, which is about human resources. Yes, it's all about people. For that, we have Vrinda Parasnis with us. Vrinda has phenomenal experience into this field of HR, and over 2 to 3 decades she is working into this field of analytics. Yes, I said analytics because it is very closely related to the field HR. And how is it related? Let us talk to her and find out more about this. Welcome, Vrinda.
Hello, Anand.
So we are actually very excited because we are going to touch the very fundamental thing in life. It is all about human. So before that, I would like to know about your journey. You're right from your educational journey. How did you actually, what did you learn? Where was your schooling? Right up to how did you actually get into this field HR? Could you please share that?
Awesome. So it's an amazing privilege to be here on the Opine podcast, and it's really amazing to talk to all of you, in terms of basically this education journey. So, let me start, and this really makes me feel nostalgic. So, I'm Vrinda, and I'm born and brought up in Pune, all three generations in Pune. So, my schooling was done in Crescent High School, which was in Salisbury Park. And then I did my graduation in microbiology because I was very fascinated by genetic engineering. So, I wanted to become a genetic engineer.
That's quite a different field.
Absolutely. So the DNA and the strands actually, because my grandfather was a scientist and he was the one who actually, kind of inspired me to do it. And so when I was doing this, I did my BSc microbiology from Garware College because that was the only college to do the thing from. That was the only college who actually offered the course of BSc microbiology. I got admission to MSc. Then I realized that, I just sat down and you have those, moments in life when you really sit and contemplate, is this the right thing you're doing? Then one day I realized, okay, I'm good at it, but is it what I want to do? Is this my strength area? Because when you do microbiology, Anna, what you have to do is you have to just sit on the microscope, sit silently, close one eye, and be in the field and talk to the viruses, bacteria, foci, the incubators. You actually don't talk. It's a very silent,
Right.
kind of serious kind of environment. I feel a very nerdy, kind of environment there.
So not you.
So not me. And then I went and told my parents. I was very afraid of talking to them, but I said, what? I really don't think I'll be able to do. Put my life into microbiology. I will not do justice to the field there. I would like to do something else. And they said, fair, it's fine. We are with you. But what is it that you want to do? And that is the point when I sat and I said, okay, what am I good at? Now I realized I'm good with people. Talking is what I love. Connecting with people is what gives me energy. And I said, let's do that. Then I decided to do an MBHR. And that's what I also believe when you want to do something, you meet the right kind of mentors, teachers, people who keep guiding you as to how do you go to the next steps.
Right.
And with that, I also got good teachers, good friends who told me how do I go about it. So I did the CET route for Maharashtra, and I got admission to the Pune University. And you always have a backup, right? You always say, if I don't go through Pumba, what happens? Because Pumba is a dream for every person in Pune.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I said, okay, let's try InSearch because that's also very well-known, nice institute, and that offered a good course. So I also gave a written test, then the GD and the interview and the PI, all of it. I got admission.
Wow.
I decided to secure the admission and be there, so that just in case Pumba doesn't happen. And then I paid the fees, and then I also went for the Pumba interview.
Okay.
Incidentally, the professor who took my interview in InSearch was the same person who was taking my GD and PI there. And I was, oh my God. And there was one Professor Chitale who was our role model for all of us. And he was also part of the panel.
Yes.
And Professor Deven Dhanak. So he's the one who has carved me out who I am today. So basically both of them, and this professor comes to me and say, how many colleges are you going to take admission? Can you once and for all decide where you want to take admission, leave the seats for somebody else? I said, okay, that was quite an alarming thing for me. So I started studying in InSearch because it started soon. I said, by the time I get results for Pumba, let me start, let's see how it is.
Right.
And I fell in love with InSearch.
Great.
InSearch was an institute which I was really looking for. The teachers were really nice. The head there and everybody, all the director of the institute, it's just amazing. So that is how I started my journey with MPM,
awesome.
Which is called Masters of Personal Management then.
Right.
And InSearch is the one who made me the professional I am.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. And I can clearly see how strategic you were since your childhood, because you were thinking about backups and all that, and you secured yourself. So nice of that. Great. So after your HR, so you got formal education in HR, so to say.
Correct, that's right.
What was the transition into job? Did that help, that HR education? And how did your first ever job start? Because that is where our students or anybody, aspirants who want to get into this field, they really worry about this. So what has that journey for you?
Okay, so let me pull out one of the secrets again, right? So when you're doing your MPM or MBA, the best part is all the institutes, they have their clubs or the, various committees, be the cultural committee, sports committee, placement committee, and guest lectures, so many things, right? So I chose to be a part of the placement committee.
Great.
Because I wanted to be front-ending. I wanted to, see how it happens. I wanted to get many people to our colleges to do our interviews and, get placements for us. So those times we traveled to Mumbai. It was quite an experience, to travel on the,
Absolutely.
institute's money. You give them the, kind of where did you spend, why.
So this was in
kind of thing.
90s.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then you, do all of that, and it gives you exposure to talk to the people, see how people treat you, how do you, talk to them, how do you convince them to come to your own organization. That's where the sales part of the HR also comes in.
Correct.
And yeah, I mean, when we did all of that, every person's dream, every student, as a student, you have a dream to get placed. Right. And so I had the same dream, and I got placed with BPCL, which was BPL, that kind of a organization. Right?
The mobile
part of it, right? So it was in Hirabag, which was a. So I started my internship there. Again, an amazing experience, because I worked in, Divya was my manager, my first ever manager in corporate, and she was into hardcore OD.
Okay.
And we did an amazing work. She was doing an OD intervention, and I got to work on the OD intervention. That's where the fascination for HR and
so what is OD for my viewers?
Okay. So OD is organization development. So all of us, when we study HR, the organization behavior, organization development are the two subjects which are core HR for us. Right? Everything else is also important, but this is what every person has a dream to work on, this OD OP intervention kind of thing. That's what makes or breaks the organization basically. And when I get to work on the first assignment, which is into the organization development, I mean, I could just only thank God for what it is. It opened up a new field. It was very nice. And then after the internship, the placement which I was getting was at Ernakulam, Kochi. And that is where I had to, start my working journey, the corporate journey. And that's where my parents said, Ki, this is it. I mean, Kerala is too far. You should not go alone and stay there. It is good if you, kind of be in Pune and be somewhere else. And I was a little disappointed, because I was very ambitious. And I said, okay, this is a good opportunity. What if, I'm a woman, boys go, had I been a boy, you would have let me go. And all those kind of conversations and fights which you have with your parents. That's all said and done. That's all right. But, Pune also has good opportunities. Why don't you try? Okay, fine. Then I got into recruitment then. So from OD, I transferred into a journey which was recruitment, a hardcore recruitment. I joined a company called Archer Management, and I was with Formulasys. So both these companies were into, Formulasys also was a US-based company, wherein that was a H1B boom that time. You remember that era where everybody from here wanted to go to the US, especially taking on the visa and the technical field. So
this was pre-Y2K era?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Okay. And then there was this boom where every student here had an aspiration to go to US and be in the IT field there. And that was where Pune had a lot of Pune anyways is a good base of talent. So I was working in this company. And then I, got into recruitment, but I specialized into headhunting. So those were the days when I actually knew, sitting in my office, in which company, which floor, somebody is unhappy, dissatisfied, who had a fight with his manager, which colleague he is not going away with, which person can I call now that he'll be okay to open for a job and go to the US. Wow. So I actually did headhunting.
So you had your own network.
Oh yeah, I had my own network, and I used to go to companies, meet them in the cafeterias, talk to them, to the offices or the joints, especially outside the offices, talk to them, interact with them. And most of it used to happen over the weekend, used to happen post office hours. That is how headhunting is done. And it was not so easy. We never had WhatsApp, so connected. We had the Gmail and Yahoo.com kind of a thing that time. Right? We had no LinkedIn and nothing that time. So that was the time when we did that. So I enjoyed headhunting. And what gave me the kick in headhunting also was the incentives which you get. So you get a base salary, and you get an incentive for every one person you recruit. And you have a slab. For the first 5 people, you get this much money. After 5 to 7,
Yeah.
it's double, and 7 to 10 is another. So that was when you understand you are earning more money than what your base salary is, it gives you a kick to
So
kind
you had
of
a growth plan.
a growth plan. So you feel amazing about it. And on a lighter note, that's where also I met my husband.
So you got headhunted.
Yeah. So so if you really look back and see, why things happen, why they happen, I think it happened because I had to meet my husband, and that's
Right.
such an amazing thing which has happened in my life. And
Oh,
he's a great
great.
asset to me. So it's amazing to be with him for all these 25 years now.
So
almost.
nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. So that's how I was into the recruitment and talent acquisition phase there. And
Okay.
it gave me a lot of worldview of what people look into when they really want to join an organization.
Okay.
Because you actually understand their story in terms of what is it that they want to join, what do they join, and hence I also understood that, okay, because I used to place them in somewhere else in the US, so I also knew what the other side wanted,
Right.
and what they have, so I could
Correct.
also understand what are the gaps there,
Sure.
and we did interventions to bridge those gaps also for
Okay.
this. And that was the value added which services which we used to offer to them. You have this, we need this, how can we bridge the gap?
Absolutely. So you said OD, organizational development, and recruitment.
Correct.
So far I have seen a formal journey in HR. Then you actually, before you got headhunted, you actually worked into OD and recruitment. Did you get to work on a lot of functions while you were in this company, or and you also got married? So how was your journey at this point? Because 2 departments already, and probably you wanted to learn so much, and you got married. How was that phase?
Yeah, so marriage happens, right? I mean, everybody, be it a boy, girl. So there's a certain age where you want to, if you want to, not necessarily you should or you must, but if you decide to get married, I got married at the age of 25. And then that was when I was with this firm where we did US-based firm for Molasses, which I was doing headhunting there. And then we got married, it was all good. Then my husband was working with Infosys then. And, he used to travel a lot. And then
so he was already global.
Oh, he was already global. That was, it was a conscious choice. I got married when I knew as a fact that he was going to travel a lot. Then obviously you have parents and in-laws who tell you that, this is not a kind of relationship which we had imagined. He's there, you are here. What kind of a relation are you into? One of you have to step back. Then all those drama of why should I step back? Why not he? I'm at the peak of my career. Why can't he resign and come back? And why should I resign and go? So all of it, and then I usually try to listen to your parents. At least I listened to my dad. My dad was like, I've always listened to you. Can you listen to me for once and for your life? Listen to me. Just go with him. So that was a time when I resigned, and I really cried a lot. Trust me. I cried with my mother-in-law. I cried with my father. I said, I don't want to give up my career. They said, it's okay. It's for the bigger good. Fair. Then I went there, and for 5.5 years I took a break. Okay. But 5.5 years, that's where I gave birth to a daughter also. And she's 20 years old now. But most of the time I'm grateful to my parents and in-laws also, okay? Because I was recently married, and then that was a time when you get to spend time with your life partner.
Right.
Okay? You really get to know of him. And that was a phase where he used to go all around the globe. Okay, he was in this phase of requirement gathering and then UAT. So we went all around the globe. It was fun to be at places.
So nice, you got all that exposure.
Yeah, exposure of 2.
And it's nice to see. I was seeing the corporate lady and all on the growth hike part and all that, and now I see a sensitive side of you for the larger good of for your family. You decide to take that step and be with for your family.
Trust me, Anand, it was not easy because you actually, when you are working the whole day, including the Saturday, Sundays and post office hours, you go back and become a housewife. Yeah, because you are on a dependent visa. I tried a couple of stints working there, but people told me you should not because it's not right.
No, it's not.
I just was working and helping with some shops and here and there, and not the HR part of it.
Correct.
It was not easy, so not easy to spend a whole day doing anything. That was the time because I studied in an English medium school. So that was a time when I read all the Marathi books.
Okay.
And I used to call my husband and his friends if I could not understand a word. How do I understand the reference of it? Right. So I read a lot, and I worked on a lot of hobbies. I played squash. Nice. I got into running. I got into badminton, and I could
So that was a learning and development phase for yourself.
Yeah. So and I toured a lot. I went to different places, unseen, hidden places, more places than local people actually visited those places.
So while it is so nice, I would like to actually know more about those 5 years. But for this particular For my viewers, OD happened, organizational development, then the recruitment, and while you were actually working towards for your own family, you took a gap.
Yeah.
And this is, I have been talking to a lot of professionals and students, and they really are worried about this gap. They are scared almost so much that they feel that they are never going to come out of this. How did you manage to come out of that gap?
Yeah. So I had taken a 5.5 years gap. Was I worried? Yes. Did I, think, because even my professor said, I mean, how are you going to come back to the corporate? What is your plan? So each time I used to come back to India, they used to say, what are your plans now? I said, no, I'm going to go back. Well, okay. And then, I think it just happens when you just think of it. So I have a good friend called Ajit Deswandikar. He was working with Persistent then. I wasn't aware he had joined Persistent because I was not here. And I called him for some other reason, for a web net kind of a thing. I wanted a Wi-Fi in my house and all. He said, I've joined Persistent, and he said, I can give you my Wi-Fi network because you're just here and you can use it, and we'll figure it out. How do we get that? So, and in the evening he calls me and says, I have an opportunity in Persistent. Would you like to join?
Wow.
And I told him, I have no plans to work anymore because I've got a daughter, I have my husband, and we keep on going here and there, and I may not, I don't want to work. He said, no, just come over, just have a chat with us. You can always say no, but just come and talk to us. I said, I've not been working for 5 years. He said, I'm aware. That's the reason I'm calling you. I said, fair. And I went for an interview, and to tell you a story, we had just come from the US. I had not even, opened the clothes, the dust cloth from the computer, the PC that time, right? When I went to the office, I got a resume in my hand. And I said, whose resume is this? He said, it's your resume. I said, oh, really? So he actually typed the resume for me. Okay, my husband gave him the details of my date of birth and all of it. And I went through it and I said, this is not me. This is not what I have done. He did a copy paste from Google for recruitment and OD and all of it. So I had just 1 minute to glance through it. And I went to the interview to the HR head then. First thing I told him is, look, sir, this is not my resume. It's not what I am. This is how the resume is made. I also saw it 1 minute before. So if we can keep it aside and we can talk, I can tell you what I've done. And then we had an interview. Then I had an interview with the who's who in the company. And to cut the story short, I got the offer letter the same day.
Wow. Great.
And I said, okay, I'll join. It was a Thursday. And I said, I'll join from a Monday.
So if you stick to your instincts and knowledge, and if you are really truthful, you could actually crack the interview.
So that is the time when I realized, and the gentleman who was taking my interview was Kishore Bhalera, who is again a veteran in the industry. And I told him, I have not been working for 5 years. Every time he used to say, that's okay, I'm aware. I'm aware you're not working. Tell me what you did, and tell me what you can bring to my table now. And that is a point which he told me. And that interests me and stuck with me. It is with me today also. Okay? He tells me, when you get married, that's also an experience. When you're a mother, that's also an experience. And that experience is what we want here, because that is what we want you to take care of our people, be empathetic. And that is what is the instinct is also helpful to us.
Great.
That was a lovely thing which put me into a comfort zone, saying that, okay, I no more feel guilty about taking a break, but I feel empowered. Oh, I've got more experience, good kind of an perspective which I bring to the table.
Lucky now. You got so many mentors, and you are really blessed.
Oh yes, mentors are the ones.
Great, absolutely. So now Persistent happened, and I know like over 15-20 years now.
18.5 years with Persistent.
So that's a huge journey.
Yes.
Now I would like to go into details. So organizational development, recruitment. And I'm sure now you know many more things. So what are the various areas into HR, and how did you come across those? Could you please tell so that my viewers would like to know that if you are working only in an area, how could you get exposed to the others, and what were the areas you got exposed to?
Okay. So when I joined Persistent, I joined them as the first BPHR, business HR, or the business unit HR, or the business partner HR, whatever we call it these days.
Okay.
And so what is a business partner HR role is what I will tell you. So it's basically the front-ending role. Okay. So any organization, if you have to run, you cannot run it as an organization. You have to have some department, some views or business units. So the software industry typically, so we are into a software profession. So ours is a software organization. So we have different business units. Right. So the business unit should have, or ideally has, a HR of its own. Okay, the person or the HR partner, the way it is called is the business partner HR, who understands the business, the growth, the people, and hence what is the people requirement of the people side required to enable this business or go into this business. That's a view HR role. And
Fantastic.
that is a role where it's a very amazing role where you understand the pulse of the people on the ground, what they actually want, and go back to the COEs, or the COEs is something which we call, which has the center of excellence,
Center of-
okay, which is people who will be working in the comp and ben or the OD part of it, or the the operations part of it, or the people experience part of it, and that's where you are the bridge between them to tell them what exactly want and what is it that we should do. So these are the ones who will have the competency. These are the ones who are the end users, and you are the one who actually play a very key and a vital role to understand what actually helps for the company. So it was amazing to be a part of this journey. So let me tell you a little back. Okay, so when I joined Persistent, it was a small company. It was a company which was Pune based for about say 2000, yeah, not even 2000, roughly say 2000 employees in the company then. And today it is a company which is a global company with 14 offices in India,
Okay.
6 offices in UK, 7
Wow.
offices in the US, office in Malaysia, offices in Sri Lanka, and we are 25,000 almost.
Wow.
Okay, so that growth is something which is really amazing. So when I started as a BPO HR,
How many employees you said?
24,700 to be precise today,
Wow.
right? So when you start working on this journey at the first place, you get an opportunity to work on everything and anything, right? So we work together on the employee manual or the policy manual, which every company has. So you actually get an experience of writing the policy manuals. And when you do this, is you study the other manuals, you actually come to know what should we have, what is the philosophy of the company, what is the culture and the value of the company, what is it that we want to do for the people, and you keep the people first. Persistent has always been an employee-centric, people-first company. So that is also is reflected in our policies today also. So when we do all of that, then you also get an opportunity to work on the systems part of it, right? So you have to also have systems which will help you do it. So then we have a system where we create for everything which we do, kind of make it a little easy, automate things and do things. So we worked on a complete thing for a to understand how do we utilize or do the automation part of it. And the biggest part is you get to do the framework, start any new initiative. What has, if you ask me one thing, what has kept me going in Persistent, one is the freedom to work, and second is the things which we start. You start something as an initiative, and it is such a lovely feeling to see it institutionalized.
Great.
And then it becomes the culture of the company. You do it year on year, and people wait for it, look for it, they ask for it. That is what, and you improvise, you learn from the experience, you take the feedback, you do something new, and you kind of go on doing it, right?
Awesome.
So then you get exposure to almost all of it. You get exposure to the OD interventions, the OV intervention, and here I was a part of one implementing the OD intervention.
Okay.
I was not creating it. Of course, we co-create it together. We cannot do it in silos. We co-create, but you also get an experience of what is the first-hand experience of when you are actually doing this, what is happening to it. So you get, again, take those inputs, go back to the ODO COE and tell them this is how we can make a change.
So what are the names of the departments?
Okay, so
within HR.
Within HR, yeah. So if you just take any HR for that matter,
or for that matter, the activities.
Activities, yeah. So let's take the employee life cycle. Okay, so any person who joins the company, you need to take him or take her in the company. So that is a thing which is the recruitment function or the talent acquisition function. Okay, so we have to acquire the talent. People have to join us. That is the main part, because otherwise you will not have a company.
Right.
People are the key assets of the company. They have to join the company. So that's the first thing. Once they are into the company, you have to allocate them. You should know, right, who works on what projects. That is called talent allocation. That's where you need to actually get them, joining some projects here. That is again one thing, because some project gets starts from here and ends, and then you have to join him another thing. The skills have to match. The customer has to agree to it. There's a lot of things which go into the talent management or the talent allocation part of it, right? So once he or she joins the company, the thing also is very important. Is the person has to learn, because in the IT industry, the skills go on changing every time, right? I mean, you have to be a constant learner. The technology changes at a rapid speed. So in Persistent, at least we have our own university, a Persistent University. Every company would have. Sometimes they may think of outsourcing it, but we and major companies will have it in-house. That is called we call it Persistent University or the Learning and Development Center. Okay?
L&D, what is
L&D. So that is where you try and, that's again a big thing, where every business unit will have its own requirement. Somebody would want to learn a machine learning, or somebody want to do AI, or somebody wants to do something else. So the requirement from the business could be different. That's a technical skill. And then you also have the behavioral skills or the soft skills.
Okay.
So that's where the L&D is. It's a big unit which is also the knowledge base of the company. So that's the L&D part of it. Then when you have this journey of the employee, you also have to show him a growth path.
Mm-hmm.
because it's all about the career development. What is in it for me, right? I mean, how do I grow? How do I learn? What is in it for me? So that is the journey where the performance appraisal, the performance management,
Right.
assessments, the feedback, the continuous evaluation. How
Mm.
am I doing? What can I do more? What is my aspiration? What is the employee wanting to do? What is his strengths? How can
Sure.
I leverage the strengths of the employee to take him to the higher growth path? How can I leverage his strengths also? How can I help him or her also, right?
Sure.
Both ways. So that is the complete way where the PHMS, so the performance management cycle goes. And then of course, which is linked with the identifying the top talent, or could be the somebody would give a band ABC, somebody would give a rating as 1, 2, 3,
Right.
some kind of parameter to understand who are the best in my company, who are the bottom performers, who are the top performers, who are the also line kind of thing, right?
Correct.
And that is where the inputs you get for the compensation part, and that's where the increment is decided.
Mm.
And then you, of course, I mean, nobody works for a charity, right? You need the salary check or the paycheck at the end of it. And hence, to me, the most important part in the company is the comp and ben, because they decide, who gets what.
Mm.
Of course, the inputs come from the performance management system. And as I said, nothing is in silos. It all works in hand to hand, sort of tight collaborated network which works within the HR also. And then when you do this, you have the comp and ben, which takes your promotions, will take the hike, increments, bonus, individual bonus, the company bonus. All of it is done by the comp and ben team.
Right.
While you do all of these things, as I said, the BPH or the BP unit HR, they're the front end soldiers. Okay, they're the ones who will go to the employees, talk to them, make them comfortable. If you take any company, everything is not very good, right? So there are companies and there are employees where they would feel sad because they did not get promoted. They'll feel sad because they don't want to work on this project or a company or this timing zone or this area of the customer be in the US or UK or whatever. They could have their own, family obligations of doing things. Not, I don't want to work from this place, that place. So many of it. So there are grievances also which come.
Absolutely.
A lot, and grievance redressal is a big part. Okay, it could be anything, but you have to be very sensitive to the thing, that a feeling of the person. That is where the BPHR organization does a big role in understanding what they want and how can we go in the solution mode. So that's a big part of the organization which fronts end the whole. And companies like Persistent, where you have got good amount of employees, the BPHR is the backbone of the company. Okay, and that's where we get our inputs from. That's where they front end.
Awesome.
While we do this, there's also sometimes where we get an inorganic growth. By inorganic and organic growth, which I mean is we also do some mergers and acquisitions.
Okay.
So when we do this, there has to be a different team, because you get a different organization into you, and you have to make sure that they are a part of a culture.
Right.
We are inclusive towards them. Also respect what they have been doing all these years. Tell them what we are. Take some good parts from them. Make them comfortable so that we both work again amazingly.
Wow.
So that's a merger and acquisition.
Fantastic.
And above all of this, what happens is you have to take care of the employee engagement and well-being, because all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy and Jill a dull girl, right? So when you do all of this, by the nature of it, it is a sedentary lifestyle. People work sitting and coding. Okay, you have a lot of working hours, and people are doing things. It's very important to create those moments which they remember.
Right.
I'll give a small example and why this employee engagement and employee, the wellness is important. Like if you were in the school, right? Let me ask you a question. And do you really remember which teacher taught you which lesson at what time?
Not really.
Not really, right? But you'll remember in this, lesson when I tried to eat a tiffin when the teacher was teaching and I was scolded or thrown out of the company.
So some
special moments, right? Or something where you had an annual event and where you performed as a Shivaji or something,
Absolutely.
right? Or some dramatic role which you have done. So any singing part, any sports part. So that is the memories you have to create. That is what keeps you. And when you say, I like my school, of course, every school gives you education. But those are the things which you like about the school. So you have to create a unique value proposition for the company. And how do you care for your employees? What you can do for them? Because they are giving you so much. Right? You're giving you almost their intellect, their time, their energy, their money. How can you care for them? Absolutely. So the employee experience, the employee engagement, employee well-being part then becomes a key part. And at Persistent, with the vision of our leadership there, we have a complete team which takes care of the well-being and the employee engagement.
Oh, great.
And so essentially these are the kind of profiles and the different activities which are in the HR field.
This is really, really helpful, because in last few minutes you have actually helped us see the entire spectrum of this HR industry, actually, if I use the word industry, what happens there. But I'm now curious about, because this is processes or why you need these departments. I'm more interested now in the data part.
Mhm.
While you're doing so many things, do you actually get to record the data which you could use it at some point of time for the betterment of the organization?
So while I was talking about all this different, organizations or activities which we do, there's another one more activity which I should talk about is the operations piece, the people operations piece, wherein when somebody joins the company, he should have his employee code, joining card. Okay, you have to have a ID card. Okay, you have to have your leaves. You have to have your PF, gratuity, annual bonus. You need all those letters for your visa, whatever. Right? That's a complete experience which the operations teams gives you, right? So let's start from anything and everything, and I'll tell you how data plays a role. Or maybe I can take a step back if I may.
Sure.
Let me tell you how HR has evolved over the years, right? So if you see, earlier it was always a time office. Okay, they were only supposed to do the leave and attendance management or the
Right.
time office, right? And we had IR, industry relationship, and then we had people who were only requiring doing certain things. Now, if you see, the HR has evolved into a strategic partnership. Okay, and the whole transformation of HR been looking into only the administrative part from a time office zone, fast forward to 2025 where we are right now. The whole transformation of HR as a strategic partner is data driven. It is because of the power of data.
Fantastic.
Okay. Now, maybe I'll just use the same sequence because I love that sequence
Sure.
of a company. So, if you just have to take data and if you take, say, talent acquisition.
Okay.
First of all, if I have to know how many people I should hire in the first place, right? How many people do I need? That is where we learn our first lesson in the HR, as is, the manpower planning is what we call it, right? Then that is where you go back to the business heads and tell them, how many people do you anticipate? What is the growth you anticipate? Okay. And hence, how many people would you need that day? So if this is a year, they say that is a number again. They
Right.
give us a number. These are the number of employees you need. Okay, for you need so many from the campus or the right from the freshers as right from the right fresh from the campuses, or you need experienced people. That's lateral hiring or a campus hiring. Okay, and again in that numbers you just cannot say that I need say 1,000 people or 2,000 people. You should know that okay, you need 1,000 people who know finance and MI. Okay, you need say somebody who needs life sciences and this. So you have to have a bifurcation, and that bifurcation comes from the data and numbers, and this is fed into the talent acquisition.
Okay.
And then the talent acquisition team knows, okay, these are the kind of people I need. Okay, and then they have their own database, and only the data works there. Okay, how many people are there, who are working, who are the people I can tap to, and then you keep on talking about what do I need. And that's where it comes, gives you a lot of information. And whatever you do, the assessments part of it, the results which come from the assessment. If you go to a campus, I mean, how do you decide he is good and she is not? I mean, it's very difficult, right?
True.
If you go with a personal judgment, it's not really that fair. And then this data comes handy. Then you have some parameters, you do some assessment, some tests, your academics, your marks. All of this then play a role to take a conscious decision, which is absolutely a data-driven decision. Then it has no ambiguity for your bias, favoritism, judgment, all of it. So that's where it helps a lot in the talent acquisition phase. Okay, let me come down to a phase where you do operations. Okay, you do any part of the operations, be it joining. So you also need to know how many people joined me. You need to know how many people are joining me. How many joining kids do I order for them? How do I make the arrangement for their lunch? So everything is data driven. I cannot just say that people are joining me. I need to know how many people are joining, what kind of experience I give them, right? And there are anything which I touch, gratuity, superannuation, leaves, all of that. One example probably which comes to my mind for the leave is, okay, suppose I take a small example from the whole piece and I just pick leaves because everybody understands it, right? So even if you just analyze the data of people taking leaves, okay, like for us we have say 14 locations, right? And then people take leaves, okay? So as a company we decide these are the 10 holidays, whatever, some holidays which we have, okay, these are the holidays which everybody has. These are some optional holidays where people can move around and take whenever they want to. Birthday is one of them where they can take a leave on their birthday. But when I see the actual data, I realize, okay, this city may not need a holiday on this festival because they don't celebrate this festival at all.
Right.
But I see that there's a maximum leaves taken on this day. I might as well say that the company holiday should be on that day and not on this day.
So you analyze that and
absolutely
change.
So it gives you a power to decide not by a gut feel, not by saying that I feel that nobody celebrates this festival here, but this festival, but data shows me this is
True.
where it is more required and this is where it is not required.
So
And then
your
you make
regional holiday structure.
absolutely, then you get a data driven insight into it, okay, that this is what you should, and you can formalize, okay. So this is where this data gives you information for everything, be it exit interviews. When you do exit interviews, the data speaks volumes.
Absolutely.
Okay, it tells you exactly what is going wrong, why people are leaving you, and what can we correct.
Sure.
So when you do joining, we also have some touch points. People who join us, we do a 30 days touch point with them. We do a 60 days touch point. We do a 90 days touch point with them. And that is the humongous data which tells us how can we assimilate the new joiners in our company.
Right.
How do we make them a part of it? And that data gives us a lot of insights.
Sure.
So that's in the people experience part of it.
Mm.
Merger acquisition, you cannot do anything about data.
Absolutely.
You need to know how many people are joining. What are their revenues? What can we do about them? How can we make them comfortable? What are the hierarchies? What are the roles? What are the grades? How can we map them here? So that is a very given thing there. The most important part where the data helps us is where the BPH or the BUHR organization works. Okay. So while there are various people who join and talk to the people, there is something which we call a dipstick survey or a employee satisfaction survey or a assessment. So there are various companies which follow very different models wherein they do a employee engagement survey once in a year. But at Persistent, we believe in continuous surveys and feedbacks, and we do a survey which is done almost a bi-monthly, monthly kind of thing, right? And these are the insights which we get, and that is which we take very seriously. Because those are the insights which tell us how are people feeling about it, how engaged are they.
So you know how the transition is happening.
Absolutely. So what are the points which I need to work on? What are they not very happy about? So that is what they talk about, right? So unless and until you have data to work, you will not be able to understand it.
Great.
And so, and one thing which I've always learned as a professional is, data never lies. It's true. Because if I'm doing something, I may have my own biases, judgments into it. It can be a personal, individual inputs which people give. The data is real and it looks the same to you and me.
Sure. So now we have talked about all the departments, how the data is recorded, but it almost sounds for the operation of that particular function. Now I have a question, twofold question. We all talk about graphical data analysis, so people doing not just charts and all, but people coming out of various graphs. And is this really helpful in organizational policy making? So are we only related to our HR world, or the company as such expects some kind of insights from HR for the organizational development? And is graphical dashboard and all used at all?
All right. So here I go. Let me answer it in two different ways. Okay. So yeah, if you see nowadays, it is very simple. So you have something, at least we have something which is called as Power BI.
Right.
And we have real-time dashboards. We have a data which is fed into the dashboards. There's an entire team which is called people analytics teams, which works on the Power BI, okay, for the HR part of it. The organization has a own Power BI. That's a different team which works. But within HR, we also have a people analytics or the analytics team which works on it.
Okay.
And this is a real-time dashboard wherein I'll tell you why it is required. So if it is any business head, he gets a simple thing, how many people are in his unit? What is the age group of the unit? What is the diversification between the men and the women? So what is the diversity ratio? Okay, how many people are on bench? How many people are billed? What is the productivity? What is the utilization? All of it is all data driven, right? It is numbers, it is real time. You can just see it, it changes every day. It is very agile mode. And that is what is very, very important. Okay, so all the systems which are there, they are all interconnected. All the inputs are linked to the Power BI, and it is a real-time thing which gives us.
So you have a real-time dashboard.
Yeah, and that is where we store insights from.
Great.
Now, okay, so this is how the Power BI is done, and there were a lot of inputs, a lot of learning which the team themselves got into. They got trained themselves, and then that is how they have built. I'll give you probably a small example of how it helps strategy. I'll give you a very small example. May not be necessarily a very complicated one, just for a simple part of it. So all of us went through COVID, and so did we, right? and the biggest problem which we had, we got when it was ambiguous situation. People all were worried about it, and all of us sailed through it very nicely. So all of us started working from home. So COVID taught us you can work from home. You need not be in the office. So overnight, all of us went home, right? But
there are pros and cons of that approach. But
let's not go into it, right? But as a company, it was also important for us to get them back.
oh yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
and all of us struggled. All the companies were, thinking, how do we get them back? And that was a time when my CEO just stepped in and he had a brilliant idea. The leadership said, if people are not coming to the office, okay, can we go to them?
Wow.
I'm like, that's an amazing idea. And what can that be? And that is where the data played a phenomenal role.
Okay.
And that is what helped to be, what we are. And that has helped our growth amazingly. I'll tell you how. So we just did a small appeal to the people. We are fine wherever you are. It's just that we want to know where you are. Okay.
Fair.
Just key in the city where you are.
Right.
You could be in Ahmedabad, Baroda. You could be in Kochi and Nakilam. You could be in somewhere in Kolkata or Ranchi or Anandpur, or it could be anything. Just write the city name where you are. And we got the database and we analyze the database. Okay. And when we analyze the database, we realize that there could be 18 possible clusters, is what we call them, or pockets, clusters,
Okay.
where we have, good amount of people staying in that city.
So what was probably Pune is now 18 places.
Correct, because people came to Pune for working. We also had few more locations, which was Bangalore, Hyderabad, Nagpur, and Goa by that time, before COVID. Then we realized that people have already gone wherever they are, right? And then we got to know that there's 18 clusters where probably, if you say take Madhya Pradesh for example, people were in Bhopal and Jaipur and Indore. Okay, if you go to Hyderabad, it was Vijayawada also. If you go to some other places, they were like Ahmedabad, Jaipur also, right? And then we said, okay, why not? Then I, along with my team, we actually, then the leadership said, okay, wow, and let's go to this 18 places. That was a time in COVID where they joined us online. They had not seen the company. It was the first time we as company went to them. Right. We told them, they understood what is persistent. We interacted with them. We told them the business side also. The business leaders also, traveled with us. And we went to this 18 clusters. That was a time when we got them to a resort because we had no office there. And then we asked, then they realized, oh, there are so many people working for Persist from this city. Wow. And then the biggest ask or the fun was, oh, we were in the same school. Oh, I know your aunt. I know your sister. They stay in the same city, so they actually, kind of some common friends in a way connected. And out of those 18 clusters, we decided, okay, which are the ones we really want to have an office. Okay, so
nice actually. Data is actually not only revealing the truth, but also helping strategically to decide from where they should work.
A lot.
Great. Thank
So
you
even
so
if
much.
the
Actually,
employee well-being or the employee engagement fast, we also, the surveys also tell us, okay, who is engaged, which employee is engaged, which employee is disengaged. What are the interventions which we can do for wellness? So it gives you everything. I mean, it helps you in the strategy to the core. I mean, that is the more, the data is the power which helps you actually.
So thank you so much for sharing that, because this is not only helping understand this in a story form, but relating back to what is the function, how as HR you are actually working on certain activities, how is technology helping. Technology, two parts you said, how technology as operations is helping, and how technology at a strategic analytical level, you are able to see things graphically and hence able to take some key strategic decisions. Awesome. This has been a great help. I actually want to keep this discussion on and on and on. But I think at this point of time, while our viewers have understood about how HR is actually in action, how you have actually developed yourself into this role, what would you like to tell our viewers if they wish to get into HR? What kind of things they need to learn as a function, as a technology, so that they can dream towards getting into this function?
Brilliant. So it's an amazing part to interact with them and tell them. So dear viewers, if you are wanting to do a career in your HR, first thing I'll say, be open to learning. Okay, don't stereotype yourself. Okay, I'm going to work only in this part or that part. Because once you get opportunity to work in various angles, you learn from it and you know the pieces, you know the other side of it, right? And if you see one common point for everything which I've been talking, be it any function, data is the common thread, or it's a horizontal. While I spoke about everything as verticals, data is the horizontal. So get yourself versed with the data part of it. Okay, data gathering is one, getting the data is one, but how do you draw insights from data is very important. So data analytics plays a very important role in the decision making or the strategy or your insights or your next moves. That is important. So basically, use this time, invest your time in understanding what data is, what is data analytics, and then it will power you a lot. Like it has powered the HR, it has powered the organization, it will power you also. That's what I think.
Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful discussion and so much learning coming out of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anand. Pleasure to be at this podcast, and thank you to be. It was amazing to discuss. It made me
Absolutely.
nostalgic to just go through everything what I did. Thank you so much for this
Great.
opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, friends, we have seen this podcast full of information, full of journey and stories. But the most important thing I think I felt here is never say no to learning process. Plunge yourself into this process and take everything by experience. Learn the technology, identify the patterns, and it will not only help the organization but certainly help you be a part of a career. So go ahead and reap the benefits out of all the learnings.